Hello, welcome to the introductory video of the course Computational Complexity. I am Subramaniam Kalyan Sundaram. I am with the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at IIT Hyderabad. We humans make a lot of computations in our day-to-day life. For instance, we do income versus expense planning. We plan our vacations. Even while doing some sports, we calculate how fast to throw a ball, at what angle to hit a certain shot, and so on. Right. So the question that we are interested is, what can computers compute? What computational problems are easy and what computational problems are hard for computers, right? So in the screen now I have a list of computational problems, right? I'm sitting in Hyderabad now. Suppose I want to go to Delhi. What is the shortest path from Delhi to Hyderabad, or Hyderabad to Delhi, right? Or maybe I have two big numbers and I want to add them, or maybe I have two big numbers and I want to multiply them. Another problem is if you have seen graphs in your undergrad. So these are graphs, right? The one on the left is a graph and the one on the right is a graph. So the lines are called edges and the dots are called vertices. And we need to color it in such a way that if you take any edge, any line, the two endpoints have distinct colors. So now I have a valid coloring that is given here. So R stands for red and B stands for blue. Now the graph over here I have colored using two colors, right? So just red and blue, but if you take any edge, one side is red and one side is blue. Now if you come to this side, the right hand side, the graph here, you notice that whatever you try, you will not be able to color it using two colors. So that's because it's an odd length cycle, right? So again, you can if you don't understand it, it doesn't matter, but you can try various colorings, and whichever way you approach it, you'll see that two colors are not enough. So in addition to red and blue, we need a third color, let's say green, right? Given a graph, can it be colored using two colors? Given a graph, can it be colored using three colors, right? So these problems are different computational problems, and it so happens that the first problem, can it be colored using two colors, this problem is much easier than the second one. Given a graph, can it be colored using three colors, right? So the goal of this course is to understand computational problems and try to understand why some of them are easier than some others. Some of them are easy, some of them are hard. And one way that we will be doing it is to classify them into what is called complexity classes. Right? You'll group them into classes based on the amount of computational resources for them, resources required for them. Right? So so the standard model of computation is the so-called Turing machine model, and the most commonly used resources are time and space. So now given a computational problem, how much time does it take to solve a problem? In your undergraduate algorithms course, if you have had one, you would have noticed that you can do sorting in order n squared time or n log n time. Shortest path can be computed in order n squared time, and so on. You would have seen such algorithms, right? So that is that is time complexity. Similarly, we could measure the space used by a certain algorithm, right? So what we will be doing in this course is to classify computational problems based on the resources used, right? And whatever I said is based on the time and space and on the Turing machine model. And in the Turing machine model, we will see the problem of NP completeness, which is an attempt to answer the P versus NP problem. Again, you would have heard of the P versus NP problem. This was a famous unresolved question in computer science, all of computer science as well, not just computational complexity. And in addition to this, we will see other computational models like circuit models, interactive computations, randomized computation, and so on. And we will try to also understand how to classify various computational problems into complexity classes based on these models, right? And sometimes we also study how these complexity classes, which are sets of problems, how they interact with each other. Sometimes we will say one of the classes is contained inside the other. Sometimes we will say they are not contained inside other, and so on, right? So that's a brief introduction to the course. If you're interested, you should join the course and try to learn more about computational complexity. Thank you.